Hello, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to A Current Affair. First, the pastor who's taken his loyal parishioners to the cleaners, a man who juggled his faith with people's finances and fooled them all. Ross Greenwood has this exclusive investigation.
It was unthinkable that a pastor would betray you.
He's a con artist, for sure. He just rips people off.
Our life now is like hell.
He's a monster. He's wrecked my life.
Meet Glenn Duker, one-time high-flying lawyer and a man of God, a former pastor with the radical Pentecostal church Revival Centres International.
They speak in tongues. They believe that the world will end in this general time period. Like a lot of cults, it's the element of control over the parishioners.
Glenn Duker used his influence to buy and sell property on the Gold Coast. He lived the high life. Waterfront mansions, first-class holidays, flash cars. But behind the glitz lay a dark secret. Now, all of this is just part of the paper trail left behind by the former pastor Glenn Duker. He's now ranked as one of Australia's top 10 bankrupts. He owes more than $34 million. And remember, this is a man of the church. Now, all this paper represents elaborate property deals that destroyed the lives of dozens of his victims. Even more amazing, some of them were members of his own flock. Like Craig and Sue Williams, they followed Glenn Duker to Queensland when he offered Craig work. Soon he was asking for money to keep his property deals afloat.
We basically thought that we were doing him a favour as a friend. He was our pastor. He asked us to help him out.
Their faith was misguided, as they found after Duker persuaded them to put more than $3 million worth of loans in their names.
We purely lent him money and he put houses in our names on loans so he could refinance. We never expected that we would get left holding them.
What Craig and Sue were funding was Glenn Duker's ambition to be a property magnate. In just 5 years, he and his family were involved in at least 90 deals, mainly around Brisbane and the Gold Coast. A common tactic was to partly pay for a house, then to keep borrowing to buy even more. It was a trick learned directly from the seminars of the disgraced property spruiker Henry Kay. Glenn Duker was seen to be one of Kay's star pupils, and the pastor soon brought his money-making deals to the church. And what sort of people from the church would enter those schemes?
Some of the pastors from the church entered those schemes, but also parishioners.
Age journalist Michael Batchelard is an expert on New Age churches and their rules.
In the law, it's recognised that pastors have a relationship with people that is, in some cases, greater than a parent over a child.
Plenty of early aggression. Kelly trying to...
Craig O'Brien followed another religion.
An ugly collision relegated O'Brien to the bench.
He played 114 games of AFL in 11 years with the Sydney Swans, St Kilda and Essendon. But of all the hits that O'Brien copped in his AFL career, he says none came close to the blow inflicted by Glenn Duker.
Everything earned out of footy's just gone. You know, everything worked for is gone.
When he left the footy field, Craig O'Brien took his family to the Gold Coast. He became a builder. Times were good. Then he put his own house on the market and Glenn Duker came knocking.
The property was contract price is 1.325 and he offered us $944,000 with the balance to be paid in 12 months with interest to be paid on the outstanding money of 8.5%.
The problem is Duker never paid any of the outstanding balance. All the O'Brien's money was gone.
We figure we've just about lost on $1 million and it's, you know, we're hurting big time.
At first glance, it seems Lynn Orloff is living the Gold Coast dream. As a successful property developer, she did up 19 luxury houses, lived in them, then sold them. Among her customers, the Australian cricket captain Ricky Ponting. But this would have been a good life living here.
It was perfect. It was a beautiful house. We didn't have any problems.
The promise Duker made to Lynn was identical to that given to Craig O'Brien. Part payment now, part later on. How much of the rest of the money that Glenn Duker owed you did you see?
None. I haven't seen any more money. None at all. I've stayed in my car. I don't have any money. I'm on a pension now when I've never done that in my life.
I don't want to say too much, but women in your circumstances don't sleep in their car.
No, they don't. But this is what Duke has done to me.
Lynn now has only enough money for one more car repayment. Then it's gone as well. But he's supposed to be a man of God.
He's a monster. He's wrecked my life.
This is Waterford on the Gold Coast, and it's where the money from Glenn Duker's scheme was destined. The only problem is, by the time he could build the 12 townhouses he wanted to put on this block of land, he'd gone bankrupt, and he'd left his victims' bank accounts as empty as this plot. But some lost more than money. Rather than finding support from the church they paid 10% of their income to, the Williams felt ostracised.
I think the biggest hurt is the betrayal of people that we trusted.
The church says otherwise, but importantly, it still stands by Glenn Duker.
There was some strong complaints against him. The church says it didn't want to adjudicate those complaints, and so it demoted him. But that action was not by any means strong enough.
Glenn Duker is now bankrupt, but his wife Laurelie, also a director of his failed company, is not. Duker did speak to us and denies any wrongdoing, but he declined to be interviewed. And what would you do if you met Glenn Duker now?
Most probably drive my car over him.
Well, I'll put it this way, I'll be sitting here getting interviewed by someone else.
There's not many things in the Bible that actually God says he hates, but one of them is a liar, and that is Glenn Duker.
It hurts, doesn't it? And authorities have found it difficult to mount a case against Glenn Duker because his victims signed contracts locking them into financial deals. If you've had business dealings with him, we want to know about it. Send us an email or give us a call. Well, just 2 weeks ago, we launched Kickstart Australia to help people